I'm going to live with dad and new mom, so just get the divorce and leave.
I was shocked when Ryan brought up divorce, and even more so when his affair came to light. Moreover, his son Mark insulted me, and even though I didn't ask, Mark praised his dad's cheating partner.
Nicole is beautiful and kind. She's always smiling and doesn't bother me with unnecessary stuff like someone.
I could be kind if we only met occasionally. As his mother, I thought I had a responsibility to raise Mark. That's why I nagged him to ensure he wouldn't face difficulties in the future. I never imagined it would lead to being told off like this. Fine, let's divorce. I agreed to the divorce and fled the house as if escaping. 3 years later, the misguided parent and child reappeared before me. That's when I finally said it clearly.
You're heartless, even though you were my parent.
Well, yeah, but I don't remember giving birth to you, and we're not related by blood. Mark, flushed with anger, still resembled Ryan. I'm Jasmine, 25 years old. I work as a stylist. I've always loved makeup and clothes. This job is my calling. I had no desire to marry. Rather, I admired cool, single women. But when I met Ryan, I fell for him instantly. Ryan was 35, 10 years older than me. We met in a vintage clothing shop I wandered into. Despite his rough appearance with long hair and a beard, he was a gentle and laid-back, handsome man. I knew right away he was the type of man dangerous to fall for. Ryan, naturally good at communication, was close with others and affectionate. Moreover, he was handsome and socialized a lot with women. In fact, he cheated twice before we married. There were countless other attempted infidelities. Considering that, I'm sure there were other women I didn't know about. The terrifying part was his response when his infidelity was uncovered.
So what? It's just an affair.
How can he be so brazen? What are you saying? Stop it. I yelled and screamed, but he seemed genuinely puzzled as he replied.
No, I mean, it's just an affair.
What? So I'm right to be upset? You're mocking me?
No, it's just an affair, you know, like a fling. But you're the only one I'm serious about, Jasmine.
As if that kind of excuse could ever be acceptable. Every time this happened, I resolved to break up. But ultimately, I couldn't resist his charm, warmth, and comfort. When he proposed, I was so moved I cried, thinking, finally, I'm truly chosen. My parents were mildly against it, but we went ahead and married. Yet soon after our wedding, a shocking truth came to light.
We're living together from today on.
He said it nonchalantly while patting the head of a boy holding a school bag. Wait, who is this kid? I asked with a sinking feeling, and he answered with a smile.
This is my kid, Mark. He's 10 years old.
I knew he was divorced before we got married, but I had never heard about him having a child. Why didn't you tell me?
You never asked me. I would have told you if you asked.
When I pressed him, Ryan responded nonchalantly again. People usually mention these things even if they're not asked. It's important.
Is it? I didn't plan on living with Mark back then, so.
Mark is Ryan's son from his previous marriage, and the ex-wife is getting remarried. So it was decided that Mark would stay with us. And we're newlyweds. Basically, I felt like the kid was being dumped on us. Mark is a stranger to me, Ryan's child with another woman. Honestly, I didn't want to take him in. I'm only 25 years old. Yet suddenly, I'm a mom to a 10-year-old. I couldn't get my feelings to catch up. But I couldn't turn away a mere 10-year-old kid standing in front of me, so we ended up living together. Mark's been through a lot, being tossed around by his parents. I want to get along as best as I can. That's what I initially thought. To make a start at bonding, I asked Ryan about Mark's favorite foods and made them enthusiastically. Tonight's dinner is hamburgers. I made a lot, so there's plenty for seconds. I was good at cooking, so it wasn't a struggle. In fact, I think I liked it, but Mark's reaction was so bad it made me lose confidence.
What is this? It's terrible. Is this a punishment game or what?
It's terrible. I tasted it in a panic, but it was delicious.
It's really good.
Ryan was eating heartily. Maybe it just didn't suit Mark's taste. I'm sorry. If you really can't stand it, there's some ready-made meals.
I'm fine. I'll eat.
His response sounded considerate, but what followed was tough. He kept saying it's terrible, and ate with a look of disgust. It really seemed like a punishment game. Of course, Ryan said nothing.
This tastes awful. Finally, just one more bite to go.
Then don't eat it. But it's hard to say that to a child you've just met, and he might not mean any harm. If it was really just not to his taste, I felt sorry, and all I could do was apologize to Mark. I'm sorry.
Well, it can't be helped. I'll just endure it.
And so, without any preparation, I began parenting. Even though he's only 10, having a child made the household chores feel many times harder. And of course, there's still my job as usual. I pleaded with Ryan to help out. Can't you help out a little?
Housework and child rearing are women's work, aren't they?
But Ryan just ignored my words. When I tried to get Mark to help, he laughed it off.
My mom never made me do stuff like that.
Every time he responded like that, it frustrated me. In the end, doing the chores myself was the easiest and fastest. And then, in no time, 5 years passed. Mark turned 15 and had grown up a lot. We got used to each other and could talk without any reservations, like a real family. But I felt it wasn't quite the same as getting along. As usual, Mark still calls my cooking terrible and doesn't help at all with the chores. Moreover, lately, he started to insult my appearance and sense of style every chance he got.
Jasmine, you're a stylist, but your ideas are so lame.
Be quiet. It makes me sad when you talk like that.
Dad has way better taste, even though he's just an old clothes shop clerk.
Surprisingly, Mark seemed to respect Ryan. Though he was awful to me, I wasn't his real mom, and maybe it was just his way of showing embarrassment, so I tried not to take it too seriously. But one day, it became clear that Mark simply disliked me. What did you just say?
Didn't you hear? I want a divorce.
When I got home from working overtime, Ryan brought up divorce while eating the dinner I had prepared. Why all of a sudden? Don't tell me, another affair? Ryan nodded in agreement.
You know, Jasmine, you've really changed. Well, maybe it can't be helped since you're hitting 30, but I just don't feel attracted to you anymore.
Mark, opposite Ryan, was sipping soup with one hand on his smartphone. I shouldn't let Mark hear this kind of talk. It was just as I tried to stop Ryan.
Yay, I get it. She really does seem like an old lady. You're right, Dad.
My mind went blank.
Right.
They laughed together. The meal they were eating was one I got up early to make before work. The clothes they were wearing were ones I had laundered. They could relax comfortably in the room because I cleaned it. The more I thought about it, the angrier I got. Who do you think made me this old lady? You guys pushed all the housework on me.
Jasmine, why are you mad? We're just having dinner.
It's weird to bring up divorce during a family meal. At that point, Mark burst out laughing. When I looked to see why, he was snickering. When our eyes met, he tried to cover his mouth, struggling to hold back his laughter. What are you laughing at?
Are we a family? I don't remember being born to you, and we're not even related by blood.
That's true.
Ryan is also laughing heartily. I felt my face heat up suddenly. Tears blurred my vision. For at least these past 5 years, I thought I was acting as a family member. I attended school events and handled household chores, believing I was fulfilling my roles as a wife and a mother. Yet, none of this seemed to have reached these two.
So you're crying now. Well, anyway, that's how it is. I just don't feel that way about Jasmine anymore.
I couldn't respond, choked by sobs and overflowing tears.
It's such a hassle when you cry.
Ryan sighed. Mark nodded in agreement, then grinned at me as I sobbed.
I'm going to live with Dad and new Mom, so just get the divorce and leave.
And even though I didn't ask, Mark praised his dad's cheating partner. She is 25 years old. She was a model and now works as a beauty therapist. Apparently, she's quite wealthy, giving Mark pocket money every time they meet. I was shocked to learn that Mark had been meeting her multiple times. Maybe this was probably why he started to criticize my appearance.
Nicole is beautiful and kind. She's always smiling and doesn't nag like someone else.
I could be kind if we only met occasionally, but I felt a responsibility to raise Mark as a mother. So I nagged to ensure he wouldn't face difficulties in the future. I never thought it would lead to being spoken to like this. I'm fine, let's divorce. I consented to the divorce and left the house as if fleeing. As a sort of alimony, I received all the modest savings we had. I just wanted to get away from them as quickly as possible. After the divorce, I worked furiously. Previously, I had held back on work, either because of Mark or the household chores. It was a relief not to have to think about that anymore. I have no choice but to work now. Maybe I was being a bit reckless, but thankfully, my work began to increase. Before I knew it, more people were requesting my services. Becoming a mother so suddenly was now a thing of the past. I've come to accept that.
What, Jasmine, you were divorced?
This woman, whose surprised face was even beautiful, is Sophia, the actress I exclusively work for. After 3 years of divorce, I turned 33. She is older than me, around 40 years old. Yet, despite her age, her profound beauty never ceases to amaze me. Yes, that's right. Suddenly introduced to his child, and then out of nowhere, he wanted a divorce. It was really tough.
What? That sounds like something out of a soap opera.
Right? Oh, don't move, please. Your other eye isn't dry yet. Sophia's large eyes sparkled as she urged me to continue. It's really not that interesting, you know? I casually shared the story of my marriage. After hearing everything, Sophia let out a deep sigh.
No way. That's unbelievable, that father and son, after all the care you've given, not a single word of thanks, and to just discard you like that. Unforgivable.
Discard me.
Yes, exactly. If you're juggling housework, childcare, and work, there's no time left to care for yourself.
Coming from Sophia, who works in the public eye, these words carried extra weight. I felt a twinge in my nose. Hearing that from you, Sophia, makes me feel vindicated for those times. Thank you.
Oh no, are you crying? Gosh, you really had it tough.
I can't believe I'm crying at work. I felt remorseful.
Don't worry about it. Let's continue to work together.
Sophia smiled beautifully, her face perfectly made up. After finishing the rest of the work, I headed home, feeling a comfortable fatigue. As I approached my apartment building, I noticed a figure sitting by the entrance. Getting closer, I saw it was a boy in a school uniform. Maybe a high school student? Glancing sideways, I walked past and tried to unlock the lobby door. Suddenly, the boy stood up and said to me,
"Mom?"
He looked down at me with a big smile. I stared at his face for 3 seconds, then tilted my head. "Who are you?"
"What?"
His smile faltered as he began to panic. Seizing the moment, I slipped through the auto-lock door.
"Hey, wait."
The boy was still shouting, but without looking back, I stepped into the elevator. Despite maintaining a blank expression, my heart was racing. I don't have children. Yet, I recognized the face. That boy must be Mark. He should be about 18 now. The age fits perfectly. Why is he coming to me now after all this time? Since the divorce, I hadn't been in touch with Ryan or Mark. 3 years ago, from Mark's last words, it seemed likely Ryan had remarried. I wonder if something happened with his stepmom. It would be odd otherwise. There's no way Mark would come to see me without any reason. It can't be good. It's frightening to think he knows where I live. What should I do if we meet again? I returned home feeling indescribable. From the next day, I became vigilant when going out and coming home. Nothing unusual happened for a while, but the following week, I saw a figure at the entrance of the apartment building again. He hadn't noticed me yet, so I took a closer look and indeed, it appeared to be Mark. It was just past 6 p.m. and still light outside, with occasional passersby in the residential area. I could call for help if something happens. Just in case, I had a personal safety alarm in my pocket. With my smartphone ready in my left hand, I approached the entrance. This time, the boy noticed me sooner and stood up.
"Long time no see."
He came up to me, fidgeting and smiling. As expected, it was Mark.
"Why did you run away last time?"
"What do you want?" I cut off the conversation abruptly and asked bluntly, to which Mark's face turned sour.
"That's cold. To see your son after such a long time."
"What?" I frowned, and for some reason, Mark looked surprised and confused.
"Isn't it nice to meet after so long?"
"After the way we parted, you think I'd want to see you?" It's baffling to think why he would assume I'd be happy. Rather, I had hoped never to see him again. "So, what do you want?" Mark hesitated before answering.
"Help, Dad, please."
"Dad, you mean Ryan?"
"Yes."
Mark began to speak quickly, as if pleading to be heard. After our divorce, Ryan remarried Nicole, the woman he had an affair with. They moved out of that apartment and both moved into Nicole's condo. Initially, they enjoyed being a happy family of 3, but gradually, Ryan and Nicole started to fight more often.
"Dad is handsome, so naturally, he attracts a lot of women around him. Nicole doesn't like it."
Well, that figures. Ryan is a guy who cheats easily without any hesitation. Also, since Nicole herself was the other woman before, she knows well that she could be cheated on too. It's understandable she'd feel insecure.
Then, last month they had a huge fight, and Nicole finally left.
What? But isn't the place where you're living now Nicole's house?
It is, but anyway, she left.
I wonder if she went back to her family's place nearby, or maybe she moved in with a friend. Either way, she's an adult. I shouldn't worry about Nicole. Honestly, I don't really care. If you're worried, you could visit her at work or have Ryan look for her. There are ways to handle it.
That's why I came here. I thought you could help. Don't you get it?
Mark appeared to be frustrated. Apparently, he just happened to find my address. He saw me entering this apartment by chance and has been waiting for me on the days he could come since then. I see. It was just a coincidence. That's all I was worried about. I had been anxious that he might have searched for me on social media or something, but if it was a coincidence, that's a relief. Feeling clearer, I headed towards the entrance of the apartment. Mark, startled, quickly grabbed my arm.
Wait, where are you going?
I'm going home, of course. You should be grateful I even listened to you. We're strangers now. I don't owe you anything. Mark clenched his back teeth, looking frustrated. Then he managed to spit out,
You're heartless, even though you were a parent.
well, but I don't recall giving birth to you, and we're not related by blood. I replied with a smile, and Mark's face turned dread. I took the chance to shake off his arm and rushed into the apartment.
Hey, wait.
I quickly unlocked the door, and just before Mark could follow, the automatic door closed.
Hey, don't mock me. Hey.
I'm not mocking you. I'm just annoyed. And if I see you again, I'll call the police. Don't come back. I wasn't sure if he could hear me through the automatic door, but from Mark's silence, he probably did. What a waste of time. Despite truly not caring about Ryan and his wife's situation, I received a call from Ryan just before going to bed. It had been 3 years. I answered the phone with a sigh of exasperation.
Long time no see. How are you?
Yeah, long time. I'm doing okay. So, what? You want me to help look for Nicole? I said sarcastically, and Ryan sounded surprised.
How did you know about that?
Mark came to my house to ask for help. Please don't drag me into your problems. Bye. I hung up abruptly. But when he called again right after, I reluctantly answered.
Why did you hang up?
Ryan sounded unusually irate, surprised that I had hung up. Isn't it the same thing as Mark? I wish you'd stop relying on others.
We're strangers. That's sad.
You cut people off so decisively but complain when it suits you. His selfishness made me laugh. Ryan seemed a bit uncomfortable, but he continued the conversation as if nothing had happened.
Nicole was always so irritated, telling us to get out. So I told her, then you should leave instead.
And she did just that.
Why do girls always change like that? They start out so cute.
I impulsively hung up the phone. I even feel sympathy for Nicole, whom I've never met. It seems we both married a terrible man. I wish I had left him sooner. I guess I have to tell Sophia about this to clear things up. I quickly set Ryan's number to reject calls, muttering to myself. Sophia laughed heartily when she heard the story.
Stupid men, right?
Right? I have a feeling he might still show up, which is annoying.
Some men are like that. Even after breaking up, they think they can still lean on their ex.
Sophia said, resting her cheek on her hand. It's curious how even that gesture is alluring. How should I do? I said I'd call the police, but I'm not sure how much that would restrain him. I'm not even sure the police would take it seriously if I actually called. As I was pondering, Sophia laughed and said,
Well, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, right?
Oh, right. That makes sense. Inspired by Sophia's advice, I decided to take action, despite my clear warning not to come. I sighed as I saw the duo sitting in front of my building. Then I called someone on my phone and walked towards the two with that person.
Hey, Jasmine.
Ryan called my name and then widened his eyes when he saw the person next to me. Mark was also frozen with a face just like Ryan's.
Why are you two together?
Oh, wanna hear? We hit it off. We both fell for terrible men, I smiled, and Nicole, standing next to me, nodded in agreement.
It's tough with these guys. They can do anything right.
Exactly. It's so much easier now.
These days, many guys can at least do household chores, you know.
Kids are more reliable than them. Ryan and Mark's faces turned bright red.
It's natural for a mother to take care of her children.
Well, we're strangers now, aren't we? You said it yourself. Also, you're an adult. What are you talking about?
Come on.
Ryan tried to interject, but we both glared at him. You're the problem, a reckless man. I yelled, and Nicole followed.
He's only good at being dependent. And despite being an old man, he always prefers younger women. Unbelievable.
Ryan and Mark fell silent. Their faces were strikingly similar. Mark, you better brace yourself. You seem to respect this man, but if you take him as a role model, you're not headed for a good future.
What?
Nicole is planning to sue for alimony. I kind of let it slide, but she's determined to dig deep. Ryan's face turned pale.
I was hesitating, but Jasmine, she helped me make up my mind. I don't want to see his face anymore.
Wait, Nicole, that.
Ryan, his mouth opening and closing, and Mark standing dazed, perhaps seeing himself in Ryan. Ignoring them, I took Nicole's hand. Shall we go?
Yes.
Ryan and Mark were in a daze, too shocked to even follow us. Nicole later divorced and claimed alimony from everyone involved.
I'm sorry about the past.
Nicole apologized for her role in breaking up my marriage with Ryan, and as a form of alimony, she handed me a substantial amount of money. I gratefully accepted. Ryan, sued for alimony by Nicole, lost his money and, from stress, his hair started thinning. He quickly became less attractive. Seeing this, Mark seemed frightened. I reported the whole saga to Sophia. It was also thanks to Sophia that I initially got in touch with Nicole. She found a former model who knew Nicole and connected us. Thanks to that, I now live in peace.
You've been looking great recently.
Yes, I've been going to Nicole's beauty salon. It's great there. Afterward, Nicole and I got along well. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Just like Sophia said, from now on, I'll focus on work and keep romance moderate. I'm aiming to be a top stylist,